Have you ever scrolled through social media and felt a pang of envy? Those perfectly filtered photos, the curated highlight reels of other people's lives. It's like everyone is living their best life, every single day. It's easy to get caught up in the illusion of perfection. We see these snapshots and start to believe that everyone else has it all figured out. We start to compare ourselves and come up short. We wonder why our lives don't look as glamorous or exciting. But here's the secret: nobody is perfect. Those moments we see online are just that, moments. They don't show the full picture. Those seemingly flawless images often hide insecurities and struggles just like ours. Behind every perfect photo, there's a story we don't see. The truth is, we all have flaws. And that's okay. It's part of what makes us unique and human. It's part of what makes us human. Embracing our imperfections can be liberating. Trying to hide our imperfections only leads to shame and isolation. We feel like we have to put on a mask to be accepted. When we pretend to be something we're not, we disconnect from our true selves. We lose touch with who we really are. And we miss out on the opportunity to connect with others on a deeper level. Authentic connections are built on honesty and vulnerability. True confidence doesn't come from being flawless. It comes from accepting ourselves, flaws and all. It comes from embracing our imperfections and having the courage to be vulnerable. When we do that, we open ourselves up to real, meaningful connections and a more fulfilling life. From a young age, we're often taught to strive for perfection, get good grades, excel in sports, fit in with the crowd. These expectations are ingrained in us, shaping our behaviors and attitudes. We are subtly, and sometimes not so subtly, encouraged to follow a path that has been laid out for us by society, parents, and educators. The desire to fit in becomes a driving force. We start to measure our worth by how well we conform to these standards. Whether it's excelling in academics, being popular among peers, or achieving in extracurricular activities, the pressure is relentless. We learn to hide our mistakes and present a polished version of ourselves to the world. Social media amplifies this as we curate our lives to show only the highlights, the successes, the moments of triumph. The fear of showing vulnerability or imperfection grows stronger. But this pressure to conform can be suffocating. It creates a constant state of stress and anxiety. We become consumed with the idea of meeting expectations, often at the expense of our mental and emotional well-being. It can lead us to believe that we're not good enough as we are. We start to internalize the notion that our value is tied to our achievements and how well we fit into societal norms. This can erode our self-esteem and self-worth. We start to fear judgment and rejection. The thought of failing or being different becomes terrifying. We worry about what others will think, and this fear can paralyze us, preventing us from pursuing our true passions and interests. We become afraid to take risks or step outside of our comfort zones. The fear of making mistakes or being judged harshly keeps us from exploring new opportunities and experiences. We stick to what is safe and familiar, even if it means sacrificing our true selves. The problem is, perfection is an impossible standard. No matter how hard we try, we will never be flawless. The pursuit of perfection is a never-ending cycle that leaves us feeling inadequate and unfulfilled. None of us will ever achieve it, and that's okay. Our imperfections are what make us human. They are what make us unique and interesting. Embracing our flaws and differences is essential to living a fulfilling and authentic life, and the pursuit of it can be exhausting and ultimately unfulfilling. It drains our energy and takes away from the joy of living. We become so focused on what we lack that we forget to appreciate what we have. When we're so focused on being perfect, we miss out on the joy of simply being ourselves. We overlook the beauty of our individuality and the richness of our unique experiences. Life is meant to be lived, not perfected. It's time to let go of the need to conform to unrealistic expectations. Embrace your quirks. Celebrate your individuality. Recognize that your worth is not determined by how well you fit into a mold, but by the unique qualities and talents you bring to the world. The world needs your unique gifts and talents. By being true to yourself, you not only enrich your own life, but also contribute to the diversity and vibrancy of the world around you. So take a deep breath, let go of the pressure to conform, and embrace the wonderful, imperfect person that you are. Vulnerability is often seen as a weakness. We're taught to keep our guards up and our emotions in check. But vulnerability is not the absence of strength. It's the courage to show up as we are, imperfections and all. It's about being willing to let others see our true selves even when it's scary. It's about asking for help when we need it. And it's about being open to giving and receiving love, even when we're afraid of getting hurt. Vulnerability can feel uncomfortable at first, but it's also the birthplace of connection, creativity, and joy. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we open ourselves up to a world of possibilities. The first step to embracing our flaws is to simply acknowledge that we have them. None of us are perfect. We all make mistakes. We all have things we'd like to change about ourselves. Instead of trying to hide our imperfections, what if we embrace them? What if we saw them as opportunities for growth and learning? What if we recognize that our flaws are often what make us interesting and unique? When we can accept ourselves, flaws and all, we create space for others to do the same. We start to see the beauty in imperfection, both in ourselves and in others, and we begin to cultivate a sense of self-acceptance that is truly liberating. Section 5. Self-compassion, the antidote to self-criticism. How do you talk to yourself? Are you kind and compassionate, or are you overly critical and judgmental? Many of us have an inner critic that's constantly pointing out our flaws and shortcomings. This negative self-talk can be incredibly damaging. It erodes our self-esteem and prevents us from living our lives to the fullest. The good news is, we can learn to be more compassionate with ourselves. Self-compassion is about treating ourselves with the same kindness and understanding that we would offer to a loved one. It's about recognizing that we're all doing the best we can with the resources we have. And it's about forgiving ourselves when we make mistakes. Section 6. Embracing our uniqueness. In a world that often celebrates conformity, it can be tempting to try to fit in. But what if our greatest strength lies in our individuality? What if our quirks and imperfections are what make us special? Think about the people you admire most. Are they perfect? Or are they flawed and fabulous in their own unique ways? Chances are it's their imperfections that make them so endearing. When we embrace our uniqueness, we give ourselves permission to shine. We stop trying to be someone we're not, and we start living a life that is true to ourselves. Section 7. Authenticity, the power of your story. We all have a story to tell. Our experiences, both good and bad, have shaped who we are today. And when we share our stories with authenticity and vulnerability, we create connections that are real and lasting. Being authentic doesn't mean sharing every single detail of our lives. It's about being true to ourselves in the way we show up in the world. It's about letting go of the need to please everyone and instead focusing on being true to ourselves. When we share our stories, we give others permission to do the same. We create a space of empathy and understanding, and we remind each other that we're not alone in our struggles. Section 8. Connecting through shared imperfections. Have you ever noticed how sharing a personal struggle can instantly make you feel closer to someone? When we let go of the need to appear perfect, we open the door for deeper, more meaningful connections. It's in those moments of shared vulnerability that true intimacy is born. We realize that we're not so different after all. We all experience pain, heartbreak, and disappointment. And we all crave connection and belonging. When we embrace our imperfections, we create a space for others to do the same. We build relationships based on authenticity and acceptance, rather than judgment and comparison. But Section 9. Embracing vulnerability, one step at a time. Embracing vulnerability is a journey, not a destination. It's a continuous process of growth and self-discovery, where each step, no matter how small, brings us closer to our authentic selves. Vulnerability is not a weakness. It's a strength that allows us to connect deeply with others and ourselves. It's about taking small steps every day to show up as our true selves. These steps might seem insignificant at first, but over time, they build a foundation of courage and resilience. Each moment of honesty and openness adds to our strength. Here are a few ideas to get you started. Challenge your inner critic. Often, the harshest judgments come from within. By recognizing and questioning these negative thoughts, we can begin to shift our mindset towards one of self-compassion and understanding. When you notice negative self-talk creeping in, try reframing those thoughts in a more compassionate way. Instead of saying, "I'm not good enough," try thinking, "I'm doing my best, and that's enough." This simple shift can make a world of difference in how we perceive ourselves. Practice saying, "I don't know." It's okay to admit when we don't have all the answers. In fact, acknowledging our uncertainties can be incredibly liberating. It opens the door to learning and growth, and it shows others that we are human, just like them. It's okay to not have all the answers. Embrace the unknown and allow yourself to be curious. This mindset fosters a sense of wonder and exploration, making life more enriching and fulfilling. Admitting when you need help is a sign of strength, not weakness. Reaching out to others for support can create deeper connections and build a sense of community. It shows that we trust others and value their presence in our lives. Share something personal with someone you trust. Opening up about our experiences and feelings can be daunting, but it can also be incredibly rewarding. It allows us to be seen and heard, fostering intimacy and mutual understanding. Start small and see how it feels. You don't have to share your deepest secrets right away. Begin with something minor and observe the response. Often you'll find that people are more supportive and understanding than you might expect. You might be surprised by the positive response you receive. Celebrate your imperfections. What makes you unique? Embrace those qualities and let them shine. Our imperfections are what make us human and relatable. They are the threads that weave the fabric of our individuality. Embrace those qualities and let them shine. When we accept and celebrate our true selves, we inspire others to do the same. This creates a ripple effect of authenticity and courage in our communities. Remember, true confidence comes not from being perfect, but from embracing our imperfections and having the courage to be vulnerable. It's about showing up, flaws and all, and knowing that we are enough just as we are. When we allow ourselves to be seen for who we truly are, we open ourselves up to a world of possibilities. Vulnerability is the key to deeper connections, greater creativity, and a more fulfilling life. So take that first step, embrace your vulnerability, and watch as your world transforms.